Hello and welcome to Take Back Time. My name is Penny Zenker and I'm your host. And I'm dedicated to helping you to work smarter. So I'm bringing you the best people, the best tools, the best strategies that are going to help you, in essence, take back time, which means work smarter so that you have more time in the long run to do the things that are most important for you. And today I am happy to have Jeff Gamet with me. And Jeff is, he is I'll start that again. And did I pronounce your last name right?
Yep, Jeff Gamet.
Okay, good.
You totally nailed it.
Okay, good. I'll come right back to that. So today I'm excited to have Jeff Gamet with me. He is with TextExpander, and he is a TextExpander evangelist, and actually quite a productivity expert, I might add, in my many discussions with Jeff. And he's been making and expanding snippets, which you'll find out more about in a few minutes, for years. And he's also a podcaster, a public speaker, a writer, and a technology fan, which is no surprise since this is based off of a technology. So, Jeff, welcome to the show.
It is so great to be here, and thank you for inviting me on. It's great to see you.
It's great to see you too. And didn't you used to work with a magazine that used to evaluate different types of tools, right?
Yes, but before I worked with TextExpander, I was the managing editor for the Mac Observer.
Exactly, right? So you know tools, and so choosing to come to TextExpander says a lot for what you think about the tool, I would believe.
Oh, absolutely. When you spend as much time as I did as a technology journalist, it's easy to get jaded to a lot of the apps and tools, the products that are out there, because you see so many things come just over and over in different forms. So to be really excited and enthused about an app or service, it has to be really good. So that says a lot about TextExpander for me. The fact that I used it for years, and then when they were looking for an evangelist, it just seemed like a really perfect fit for me.
Awesome. And I have to say that, TextExpander is one of those apps that if my computer went down and I lost everything, it would be one of the first apps that I would reinstall.
Same.
So, that's why people were bringing this to you, because this is an absolute must-have, no-brainer. And immediately, what I love about it is that it sends me on a weekly basis, it sends me how many hours I've saved. So that is always a good feeling when I'm like, yes.
Yes, I agree. Being able to look at those statistics and see how much time I'm saving is really great. Now, it's interesting for me because I'm working in the company now. So we'll share our stats with each other. And I thought that I was expanding a lot and saving a lot of time. But then I saw what our support team does. And there's no way that I can expand as much as they do. But then,
well, I can't wait to hear some of the things that they do with it. That'll be really interesting. So I'm writing that as a note to myself to talk about your support team.
Yeah, it's a critical tool for our support team.
Awesome. So I know it saves me about two plus hours, depending on the week, a week. How many hours does it save you?
That's a really good question. Hold on, I'll check right now and see what my stats are showing me.
So you can see, people, or hear that this is not predetermined. He was not expecting the question.
No, but that's okay because I like just being able to play with stuff on the fly.
Well, and the reason I'm asking you that too, just to give it some context for everybody, is I set a goal for 2020 that I want to help people to save 220,000 hours. So I'm just getting that launched and started to be able to track. And TextExpander is going to be one of those tools that's going to help me track for people, because I'm going to introduce them to it, and along with other things. And I want to be able to track and say that at the end of the year, I was part of helping people save 220,000 hours.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, wow, I have saved typing 1.19 million characters. That's a lot
That's a
of
lot of
letters.
characters.
Yeah, I'm at just under 50 hours saved right now.
For
And
what time period?
that would be, actually, that's a really good question. How much time has that been? I believe I am looking at the last couple months right now.
Probably since the beginning of the year. Is that what you're thinking?
Probably since the beginning of the year, yes.
Okay,
So
so
I'm
it's
up to almost 50 hours
mid-March.
for the year.
I'm sorry?
So almost 50 hours for the year already.
50 hours, right? 50 hours for the year. That's huge. Listen, people, what would you do with an extra 50 hours? I think you'd figure out something to be able to do with it. And then, of course, if we took that, if that's one quarter, multiplying that by 4, right, would give you 200 more hours a year, which is huge. So
I've already saved a full work week of time in one quarter.
that's awesome, right?
Yeah, it's
So
wonderful.
so that's a huge testament for the tool. So let's talk to people about how to best use the tool. So I can I'll share some of my tips and tricks as how I use it as a speaker and in my business. Let's start with, you said that the time that you spend doesn't even compare to the savings that your support team does. So let's talk about, how is your support team using TextExpander, and maybe I'm jumping the gun. For those of people who don't know what TextExpander is, can you give them a high level overview of what it is and what it does?
Sure. So you have to type all the time. There's a lot of things that you type over and over. Take all of those things that you're typing repetitively and put them in TextExpander, and then assign abbreviations to each of those things. And then when you need to type whatever that is, on a very basic level, your name, your phone number, your email address, stuff like that, or complex forms that you need to fill out, web forms that you fill out repetitively. It could be pretty much anything.
And
All that goes
maybe
into
just to add here some
TextExpander.
of the things that I use it for. I send my bio out a lot, and I have 3 different versions of my bio. So I have those each listed. And then I have certain marketing things that I send out on a regular basis, or I might, put into a LinkedIn connection with somebody, and those different types of things, and that I use over and over again. Marketing messages, um, program diagrams of what my program is that I'm going to be doing, can easily, that's just, in one quick hashtag, it's there.
Yes. Yeah, it's great being able to type something, just a little abbreviation, and watch it expand out into a word or a paragraph or a contract or a form that automatically fills itself out.
And now, people might say, well, I really want to customize things for people because, it seems so generic if I just have the same blurb for everyone. Tell them how that's handled in TextExpander.
Yes, that's actually
And you could
a
show us
really
too.
great thing to point out. Sure, I would be happy to show you. Um, let's just share my screen.
Let's just show people
And
the tool a little bit.
yeah, okay. So there we go. Are we screen sharing yet? Come
We
on,
are.
catch
We're
up.
on.
Great, there it goes. Okay, so uh, actually, here's a snippet that I show in some of the webinars that I do, and it's a snippet where the idea is, you've been to an event, you met someone that that has another product. So we're going to share products with each other to learn more about what each of these products are. So I have an abbreviation. In this case, it's .phil. Okay, here we go. So here's a bunch of stuff you can do in a snippet without having to spend a lot of time cutting and pasting or anything. You can really customize something. So I can fill in a blank and make and make this more personalized. So, you need to type in um, product names and people's names, things like that. So let's say that we met at a conference. So I can say, "Hi, Penny,"
Absolutely.
and uh, and let's make up a whole new product for you. We'll call it uh, iProduct Ivity. There we go. I
Okay.
can't I, I can't wait to start using your new product. And then um, uh, TextExpander, there's more than just TextExpander. There's PDF Pen and PDF Pen Pro. So now I can
How cool is
add in.
that you can do, drop down lists and things like that so that it becomes so
Mhm.
easy to customize it.
Right. And then down here, these green blocks of text, these are optionals. So I can include them or not. So I'll uncheck the one that I don't want, and now I'll click OK. And I've created a whole email that's customized and personalized for that specific person. And all I had to do is a couple fill in the blanks and a pop up, a checkbox, and click OK, and I have this whole message.
That's amazing. And what about images and things like that?
Oh,
Somebody
sure.
might say, I want to make this look a little fancier.
Sure. So an example of that would be, let me just get rid of that boring signature and put in something that's more
Right.
uh, engaging.
It's
So
almost like I set you up for that. Like you knew, you were just like, I got that.
I've got that. Yep. So in this case, there's that graphic you asked for, but I took it
Mhm.
up a step, and this also includes a hypertext link right in
Absolutely.
the
So
signature.
there's a huge amount of flexibility with different elements that can be added.
Sure, it's very easy to customize the content that you're making with snippets so that it fits whatever it is you want to do, as opposed to trying to use, say, just like a macro and and just having to deal with whatever that is, and then have to go back after the fact and edit that. You don't have to do the editing. You can just have the fields that you want to fill in and use, and just make it all happen when you're expanding that snippet.
That's awesome. Is there anything else while we're on your screen that you want to show us that would be something that people could really take advantage of?
How about something with dates?
Yeah.
Because a date is a thing that people use a lot. And now that I say that,
And even
um,
I didn't do this yet, but I started to do a test, but I didn't finish it. I think you can create like meeting agendas and things like that that are somewhat dynamic. Is that right?
oh, sure. Yeah, you can set up a snippet that does pretty much anything you want. So actually, how about if I make a snippet real quick?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's good.
Um,
Let's show them that
sure. Okay. So
with
I'll start
dates,
by
like you
making a new.
said.
Yeah, and let's say that I want to have an email that starts off with someone's name. So I'll say hi, and then I'll set up a single line field, and there we go. And now we want to have today's date in here. So I can just go to my date menu and uh, pick the month. I'll put a space in there, and then the day, and then a comma, and the year. And so now um, it was great meeting you today. And we'll just give this uh, uh, there we go. Gave it a quick little abbreviation. And now if I expand that out, you can see that I have a place where I can type in your name. And then
That's
let's
all right.
work on
Don't
my
worry about
typing skills.
it.
Click OK. There we go. And you can see that date just popped right in there.
Absolutely. So yeah, so that's the way that you can use dates, and so easy to create a snippet. Is
Mhm.
there anything else that you wanted to show us there? Because then I also wanted to then go into how your support team might be using it, like workflow and team use.
Sure. As long as we have this open, the snippet we just made, how about if I put that signature into it that
Uh-huh.
has the graphic so that we don't have to type that manually? So I can just go to my keyboard menu and I'll choose Insert Snippet. I remember the abbreviation for that was semicolon sig. Click OK.
Mm.
And to make sure this works right, I have to change my content type to formatted text to pictures because that signature, it has a graphic in it. So now we've done that. And click OK. And, it didn't work. Well, that's what ends up happening when I try and do something. Oh, you know why?
You did a colon instead of isn't it a dot? You were using dots?
No, this one is semicolon.
Oh, okay.
There we go. And let's just make sure I really have that set up right. Insert snippet. Okay. Let's try it again.
There it is.
I must have just had a typo in it and didn't
Yeah.
catch it the first time. But there we go. So I was able to reuse the snippet. And the nice thing is if I ever change anything in this snippet that has a signature, it'll automatically be updated in the original snippet that we made. That's the whole email.
So, huge advantages to working with, templates. What are some of the, other than saving time, what are some of the other big advantages?
Well, this gives you a way to make sure that you're not making mistakes.
Yes.
So, for example, the phone number here, if I have to type my phone number all the time, there's the likelihood at some point I'm going to type it wrong.
I know. I can't tell
So,
you how many times I've spelled productivity because it's one of those like words that's hard. Like I need to have that in here because otherwise I'm going to misspell it. And I am a little bit quick to do things and I'll hit send. And this way it kind of gives me some assurance that I know what I'm sending has been proofread.
yes, and speaking of typos and misspellings, there is a public group that we have that you can subscribe to that has so many common misspellings. And what happens when you have that group installed, when you do the typo for the word, it automatically corrects itself.
Oh, that's awesome.
So
I
it's,
didn't know about that.
oh yeah, it's if you go to textexpander.com/support, you'll see an option in there for public groups
Awesome.
and look for the tidbits autocorrect group. And they're free, so you can just subscribe to it. It's automatically added to TextExpander for you.
Awesome.
And now you have, I think it's thousands of words that have common misspellings, and those have all been turned into snippets, so they autocorrect for you on the fly.
And so what we see here also on your left is you've got a lot of different categories, right? It enables you to set up different
Mhm.
categories.
Yes. So these are groups, and uh, you can see that I have several groups that I've created just for myself. I have some groups here that other people have shared with me. Then we have lots of groups that are for TextExpander as a company, and then at the bottom I have those public groups that I've subscribed to, like the Tidbits Autocorrect.
Uh-huh.
Let me just expand that out and start scrolling.
Wow. Yeah.
That's yeah. I'm still in A's.
Wow.
I finally got to see. But anyhow, I mean, this is a crazy long list of words, and
That's
that's
going to
actually
already
been
save me. I'm getting that.
yeah. I think this is one of the snippet groups that has helped boost me up to 49 something hours saved already this year.
Awesome. Awesome. So with these groups, right? So like you said, you can have company snippets, you can have team snippets, right? So that helps you
Hmm.
also back to the things that it helps you with: time saving, less mistakes, branding issues, right? To make sure that if your
Yes.
company, if you have people who are marketing, that there's the common message is getting out, right? So that you're consistent.
Yes. And this is also a place where our support team has found this to be incredibly valuable, because the the common support questions that come in, we can have those answers set up in TextExpander. And then if something changes, where maybe a procedure changes with a software update, and now there's a new way to do something, well, we can have one person go and update the support snippet for that answer. And since we're using the Teams
Mm.
version of TextExpander, everyone that's using that snippet automatically has the new content. So they don't have to worry about going and manually updating their own snippets to make sure that they have the right content and the right answers to give to our users. It's just there for them automatically, and they
That's
don't even have to
huge.
think about it.
That's
Oh
huge.
yeah.
And what I love about the tool is that it works across all of my applications. So it's not like it only works in email, right? It'll work in all of my
Right.
applications.
Right. If you can type, that's where TextExpander will
Right.
work. There is one exception, and it's an important exception, and I'm glad it's there. And that's if you're using a password manager, which you
Mm,
should be. Your password manager will block TextExpander while it's doing its thing.
right. Okay. Well, that's fair
And
enough. I haven't tried it on that. There's other tools for that, right?
right. So, so if you're using a password manager, just be aware that's a thing. That's not a bug. That's a security feature for you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, that's awesome. Is there anything else that you wanted to share here around these groups and team use?
Let's see. Do you want me to show you where that public group is? I can show you that real quick.
Yeah, you can show us. We'll with the show notes, we'll have all of those links available for people, as well as where they
Sure.
can sign up and get TextExpander and the support group and all that good stuff.
Well, and this I just realized will give me an opportunity to show you something else that I do with TextExpander. I've set this up for websites that I go to commonly instead of
Hmm.
using bookmarks.
Okay.
So I have an abbreviation that I'll type, and it gives me a window where I have my URL, textexpander.com, then a pop-up for the path on the website that I want to go to. Click OK, and it just takes me to that page. And the great thing is that I'm not having to keep tons of bookmarks for all of these different pages that I go to. I can just have the main URL and a pop-up with all the other locations. So here we go, public groups, select that. And there's some nice autocorrect groups in here, but
Okay.
the
Great.
one that you're looking for, the one that's going to be the most inclusive,
Hmm.
is the one for from Tidbits, which is a an online publication that's been
Okay.
around forever.
Store track quotes. It's funny as you're scrolling through here, the things that are that people have put as the public groups.
Yes, and I scrolled right past Tidbits, um, but yeah, Star Wars quotes.
It's funny that you scrolled by and it said quotes. I actually haven't checked out these public groups, so I'm definitely going to do that. But I was also thinking about quotes and how quotes would be a good thing to have that you can bring up at any particular time when you wanted to access that, whether they're your quotes or famous quotes
Or
or
Shakespeare's quotes.
Shakespeare's, right? Quick question for you in that, like, what kind of
Hmm.
a if I wanted to create, let's say, in my email, I wanted to have a footer that has a quote, but I want that quote to change every day. How dynamic is TextExpander to do that, or to include two options here? Can it do that? And if not, can it include in that pop-up list another another group so that it would be included there, that at least I could choose it from that group?
Well, the short answer is yes. The longer answer is it depends on how uh, automated you want this to be. So if you wanted to have a group of quotes, and you're just going to be adding and removing different quotes over time, you could set those up as snippets and then have that nested, and then choose the ones you want in that parent snippet. And since you would be changing the nested snippets over time, then that's changing on its own for you. And then you just choose the one you want. The more automated answer would be you set something up using JavaScript. And the reason I'm saying use JavaScript is because that's cross-platform, so you can use it on Mac and Windows. And if you're using, say, a Chromebook with our Chrome extension, you can use it there too. Otherwise, if you're just on a Mac, you could do it with AppleScript. But let's say JavaScript just for cross-platform compatibility. Set up a JavaScript that is randomly selecting these quotes for you, and then it's like hyper automated. You just expand your snippet, and the JavaScript will do the part that grabs the quote for you.
So what if somebody's not AppleScript or JavaScript, like they're not a programmer, they don't know how to do that kind of stuff? Then it would just be the select from the group that's provided.
Then you would just select from the group that you're making yourself. Yeah. So there are options.
There are options. That's awesome. And there's, developers that you can hire to do that snippet for you with the JavaScript, and then, and then it's there for you.
Yeah. And if you have a little bit of coding understanding, you can take JavaScript snippets that other people have written.
Of course, yeah.
And work with those. So like, as an
Absolutely.
example.
I'm a total hack like that. Like I have enough developer background that, I can totally do that. So I'm going to play with that.
Yeah, there is a snippet group that I subscribed to. Let me find it. That is, oh, here we go, my Lipsums. Here we go. Okay, so this is actually a JavaScript. And what it does when you expand the snippet is it creates lorem ipsum, so just gibberish filler text for you, and then with something like this, you can look at this and figure out enough if you're comfortable.
Right, it's not for everybody. So for those people whose eyes are rolling, across and have just passed out, please don't worry. You don't need any of this. TextExpander is the easiest tool to work with those few plugins that we talked about of picking, first name, picking a field, or very, very easy. Adding the date, very easy. This is for your more advanced user who wants to play around a little deeper.
Right. Yeah. So there you go. That's the long version of the yes for you.
Perfect. Well, so is there anything else that you want to show us or tell us that we need to know before I ask my final questions that are away from the tool itself?
Well, let's see. I have shown quite a bit already. It's like you got a mini webinar.
Absolutely. It's awesome.
And actually, just so people know, I suppose I'm throwing a pitch out here right now.
That's okay. Throw your pitch.
We do free webinars every month. So I do 2 beginner webinars a month, and then some months I'll do an advanced webinar as well. So and then we'll throw in other webinars throughout the year. So we have these webinars where you can come and learn more about using TextExpander.
Perfect.
And they're free. So it's, just show up and you get an hour of my time where I'll show you a bunch of stuff and you can ask questions.
That's awesome. Well, for sure, we'll definitely put those links on the show notes so people can get access to them.
Awesome.
Well, great. So the last question I want to ask, and you can turn off the screen share so we can see your beautiful face there. So are there any other like integrations that make sense? So you said you can use, JavaScript and things like that. Are there any other integration tools that you've heard other people are using to use TextExpander?
Well, if you are doing command line work, so like if you're a developer, an IT person, then the command line stuff that you do repetitively, you can put that in TextExpander
Okay.
as well, which is cool. Um, and there are a lot of companies like support teams in companies actually
Uh-huh.
that they have a help desk system that they're using, like Help Scout or Zendesk or something
Right.
like that, and they are supplementing their their support answers with TextExpander, because all of those systems will let you put some text in so that you can have some canned responses, which I don't like using that word, but
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
guess I just did. So how about if we say
Standard.
prepared responses?
Yes. Absolutely.
And those are fine, but a lot of times you need to have more flexibility. So then they'll augment what they're already doing with TextExpander.
Awesome. Well, that's great. Well, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and TextExpander as a tool. What are the other apps if you were to everything were to shut down? Is there any other apps that you'd say, you know what, those would be the first things that I would install on my computer? So TextExpander is one of them. What would another one or two be?
The top three apps that I have to have
Yes.
to be able to function: TextExpander, 1Password, and Dropbox. And then once those three are installed, then I can start building out everything else. Then my next tier would be, I have to put PDF Pen Pro on so that I have my PDF viewing and editing tool, and then Slack, because that's the standard communication platform for not just companies, but there's like friend groups
Right.
and special interest groups that are all in there. And actually, I have just recently switched from using Chrome as my primary browser to using Microsoft Edge.
Interesting.
So
How
that,
come
that
you switched?
I switched because Edge is performing a little faster for me than Chrome was, and Microsoft has taken some efforts to make Edge do less tracking of your activity than Chrome does.
Hmm.
And that just seemed like a good thing to me.
All right. Awesome. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate it. Anything else that you want to share before we close down today?
Um, just that this is so cool to get to hang out with you and talk about cool apps and productivity. And now that I've
Just
tossed out
geeking
some of
out
the
together.
totally geeking out together, and now that I've tossed out some of the apps that are must-haves for me, I'm curious, what are your must-have apps?
Well, I think I shared with you last time we spoke, but I'll share it with the group here. I did an interview recently with somebody who was involved with PlatStack. And I have to
Mm-hmm.
say that's one of my new favorites because PlatStack, it helps you to group and organize and share your links. So if I'm working on a research project and I'm doing a new presentation on a different topic, or I want to look for some stats or create an infographic or something like that, I may go and look at several different sites as resources. And as it would have it, maybe I'm not able to finish that in one session. So I'm able uh, to shut everything down, to put it into a plat stack and to a group or even subgroups of that. And then I can
Mm-hmm.
open all of those links at once. So I could say, I want to get back my research on, uh, on some kind of promotional marketing thing that I'm researching. And then I hit the button and all maybe 10 resources will open up automatically. So that just saves me a lot of time in getting my desktop, organized. So it's that digital organization. So that's definitely become one of them. TextExpander is one of them. And I'm not huge into a lot of apps either, because I'm just not. I mean, I think there's a few that you need to have, and that's pretty much it. I also use Dropbox for sharing and communication. I use Google Forms. I use a lot of, not that I need to like separately install that, but when I'm doing my automation projects, often I'll have somebody come and fill in a form, and then I'll take that using an integration tool like Zapier and or Zapier. People like to pronounce it tomato, and then I'll have that form brought into a whole workflow process. And I also use different types of tools like Trello to manage different types of lists.
Yeah, Trello is really cool. And I just thought of 2 other apps that I have to install all the time.
Oh, what's that?
One is Omni Outliner from Omni Group. It's an insanely powerful outlining application.
When you say outlining, is that you mean like mind mapping? I actually, that's one of my core ones, is mind mapping. Is it a mind mapping tool, or is it more of
It's a literal outlining
okay.
tool.
Cool.
But it's incredibly powerful. So powerful that when I started creating an outline for the book I wrote several years ago, I did it in Omni Outliner. By the time I was done, I had actually written the book in Omni Outliner.
Yeah, well, that's awesome, right? Anything that can help you organize is going to help you do it more efficiently.
Yes, and then Fantastical.
I don't know that one. What's that?
It's a calendar app that it's for Mac OS and iOS, and it ties into the calendar database that Apple's already making, and it gives you a really easy to use interface from the menu bar, and it gives you natural language control over creating events. So, I mean, you can do some of that in Apple's calendar app, but this goes beyond that.
Cool. Well, I'll check it out. I use Apple, so I'll definitely check that out.
Cool.
Awesome. Well, Jeff, thank you so much for being here. As usual, it's awesome. Happy to geek out with you anytime.
Well, thank you for having me on, and I am happy to geek out with you anytime as well. This has been like a really cool package, because we got to talk about productivity stuff, which I love, but then we got to talk about other cool tech stuff that I love as well. So this is like a really awesome package deal for me. So thank you.
Well, thank you. Well, we'll I think in a couple months we'll have you back and we'll talk about something completely different, because I know that you're passionate about productivity, and I know you'll have some additional tips for people as well.
I am in. You just tell me when, and I will be here.
That's great. And thank you all for geeking out with us. Some of our shows are a little bit more technical, a little bit more tool oriented. Some are mindset oriented. Whatever it is, we're here dedicated to help you to be more productive and to work smarter. My name is Penny Zinker, and this is Take Back Time. See you in the next episode.